Fellas, Valentine's Day is in a few short days, and I can already smell the collective flop sweat from here. Most of you are currently caught in what I call the performance trap. You're stressing over a $400 reservation at a steakhouse where the waitress hates you, buying roses that will be dead by Tuesday, and praying that this grand gesture is enough to finally flip her yes switch, baby. But here's the cold, hard, biological truth, my guys. You are walking into a performance review, not a romantic evening. When you treat intimacy like a transaction, I buy the lobster, you provide the dessert. Ooh. Her nervous system screams, "Help!" It doesn't see a leader. It sees a desperate salesman or a little boy. Now, before we dive into the neurobiology of why your alpha gurus, your alpha gurus are leading you straight off a flipping cliff, I'm going to open a loop for you. By the end of this first segment, I'm going to give you the Oxytocin Anchor. Yeah, baby, you heard me right. In the first segment, I'm giving you the Oxytocin Anchor. This is a 30-second psychological sequence that creates a 72-hour window of receptivity. 30 seconds, 72 hours. It's worth the wait, boys, because this is not a hack. It's a nervous system reset that costs $0 and works better than a Cartier bracelet. More importantly, I'm teasing something even bigger for the end of this episode, the EM intimacy architecture. This is the complete blueprint for turning a stagnant relationship into a high-polarity powerhouse where she isn't just willing to be with you, she's craving your presence. She wants your embrace. She needs you emotionally. Stick around, boys, because if you miss the architecture, the anchor won't have anything to hold on to. Guys, let's talk about why Valentine's Day usually ends in a headache and a maybe tomorrow. We have to look at the dual control mode. The dual control mode of sexual response. This was popularized by researcher Emily Nagoski, and she said most men think arousal is a single dial, but it's actually two, count them, two independent systems. You've got the sexual accelerator, you've got the sexual brake. The accelerator is triggered by the spicy stuff, right? The dress, the flirtation, the physical touch, your cologne, stuff like this, right? But the sexual brake, it's triggered by stress. It's triggered by pressure, and it's triggered by feeling the obligation. When you set up a high-stakes, high-cost Valentine's Day, you are unknowingly slamming her foot on the brake. Why? Because the prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, my dudes, it evaluates the cost of the night. If she feels like she has to perform, right? She has to perform sexually because you spent a week's pay on a dinner. I mean, her amygdala perceives that as a social threat. It ain't hot. It's not impressive. You look like a loser. I mean, this triggers a spike in cortisol, the stress hormone, guys. Your big plan, your grand date, it's triggering stress. High cortisol is the biological kryptonite to oxytocin, which is what you want, the bonding hormone. I mean, you're literally trying to start a fire in a rainstorm of stress hormones, my guys. Knock it off. Peer-reviewed research. This isn't just me, man. I'm not just telling you guys this stuff because I think it's true. Peer-reviewed research in the Journal of Sex Research consistently shows that for women, responsive desire thrives on safety. Guys, if her brain is scanning the room, thinking about the credit card bill or the fact that you've been acting like a nice guy all week just to get laid, her break is locked. But I've got the cure. EM, baby. Ethical masculinity understands that your job isn't to push the accelerator, it's to remove that little foot from that little brake. You do that by lowering her cortisol through emotional leadership. Come on, man, this is easy stuff, easy work. This allows the eminently feminine woman to be in her raw, radiant sexual energy. You allow her to breathe, my guys. Take the pressure off. Stop with the grand gestures. She ain't ready for that yet, man. Now let's take a quick detour, because you know I like to bash our little friends over at the red pill, right? The little boys over at the manosphere, right? The red pill guys, the guys that tell you that you need to treat women like crap. You know, the fragile little alpha boys, alpha. You know these guys. These are the guys who wear leather vests in 90-degree weather and tell you that the secret to attraction is the dread game, right? Or treating your woman like a disobedient golden retriever. Not here at Plant the Spark, baby. These dorks of the round table, right? They tell you that being a high-value man means being cold, means being manipulative, means, being emotionally distant. They can't be farther from the truth. These morons are destroying your dating life possibilities. Here is the psychological reality. And I don't think these guys have the IQ to understand this, but my fire starters do. Guys, fear is not attraction. If you use dread to make a woman stay, you aren't building her desire. You're triggering her attachment anxiety. You scared little boys just want a scared little girl. I mean, a study published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, they found that while anxious attachment can lead to increased sexual frequency in the short term, as a way to secure the bond, right? She's chasing to secure the bond. It absolutely nukes long-term sexual satisfaction and genuine intimacy. Guys, you don't want a blow-up doll, or maybe you do. And if so, go back over to the manosphere, right? Guys, you're essentially holding her nervous system hostage. An EM man, an ethically masculine man, doesn't need dread because he has frame. And frame isn't about being a jerk. It is about being the most grounded person in the room. While all the alpha dorks are busy calculating their body counts and trying to look stoic on a podcast, the EM man is busy being the safe storm to weather that internal storm that she's feeling. He provides the safety. Right? He provides the safety, the ethically masculine safety that allows her to drop her manager persona and actually enter a state of surrender, which is eminently feminine. Now, the manosphere, these guys teach you how to get a girl to comply. Comply? I mean, guys, I'm teaching you how to get her to fully surrender. There is a universe of difference between the two, and the latter is where the actual fireworks happen. And if you've been following my channel for a while, and I see the numbers rising, I see it happening. Those guys know the difference. They've been using this stuff. That's why they come back day after day, because we're not about fear and dread and manipulation here. We're about using psychology, using hypergamy, and using our natural, autonomous, competent, related skills to get the girl. Now, look, I promised you the Oxytocin Anchor, and here it is. Segment number 1. This is a deliverable. This is the deliverable that resets the Valentine's Day performance trap. The anchor is a non-sexual, high-presence physical and verbal sequence. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to target the vagus nerve, all right? The vagus nerve pretty much controls your parasympathetic nervous system. which is kind of like your calm down, your rest and digest state, right? Now, to perform the anchor, you approach her during a non-stressful time. Guys, pick some kind of boring time, right? Maybe, while she's getting ready. Maybe, I don't know, she's sitting on the couch playing Candy Crush. So what you're going to do is you're going to place a hand on the small of her back, or maybe your shoulder, right? Just a firm, grounded touch, not groping, right? And then I want you to go ahead and hold eye contact for a full 6 or 7 seconds, right? Touch her, just firm, but not like a grip, right? And look in her eyes. And what science shows is when you do this, that's 6 seconds of eye contact. It is the threshold where the brain begins to release significant amounts of that oxytocin, the bonding chemical, right? The bonding hormone. Just a touch and a little bit of eye contact without any pressure, right? You're just holding that gaze. You give her a micromance, right? A micromance. It's a micromance of validation that has nothing to do with her looks. It has nothing to do with the sex that you want because of you're giving her a box of frickin' chocolates. Lame. It gives her something like, I was watching how you handled that call earlier. The way you lead is incredible. It's that kind of energy. It's just strong, grounded presence that you are showing that you are there for her. Guys, this is the Micro-Mance Revolution. Dr. John Gottman, right? I talk about him all the time. I talk about these things called the bids for connection, right? He did a lot of research into this stuff. And what he found is that couples who acknowledge these tiny, sort of mundane moments, right? The throwaway moments, they have a 90% success rate in a long-term relationship. You know what the success rate for those grand gesture people is? It's about 33%. It's like 1 in 3. Because by using the oxytocin anchor, you are signaling to her amygdala. So we're talking at a biological level. Her amygdala sees that you are safe, that you are an attentive leader. You've been watching her. She did a great job. You let her know it. And you did it while looking at her softly and touching her softly. You've just cleared the brake. You broke the brake. Her foot just rammed onto the accelerator. And when Valentine's Day rolls around, she isn't performing anymore. She isn't performing for you. She's responding to the safety that you've been building for 72 hours. This is how you transition from a transactional man to an architect of desire, boys. That's what you do. If you want to move from being a little boy who doesn't understand women to a man who does, follow the rule, boys. But now I'm going to give you the actual life changer, right? If the oxytocin anchor is a tool, right? And it is. It's a great tool. But the EM intimacy architecture, it is the entire construction site, my guys. I mean, this is what separates the men who get pity sex from the man who experiences imminent femininity in its full, uninhibited glory. And you will, boys. It just takes time. It just takes patience. It just takes you building a life so beautiful that she can't get enough of you. Guys, the architecture is built on 3 specific psychological pillars. Number 1, I talk about it all the time, predictable safety, unpredictable novelty, and unshakable presence. The first pillar, predictable safety. Research from the Gottman Institute, again, the Gottmans, they're great. They show that emotional stability is the floor upon which desire is built. If you're an emotional roller coaster, angry one minute, needy the next, pissed off the next, needy the next, oh, stay with me, honey. Guys, you are forcing her to stay in her masculine shield to protect herself. You don't want her masculine. You want her in her eminently feminine state, guys. And the only way to get her there is if you are her anchor of safety. You handle the house, you handle the logistics, you handle your emotions so she doesn't have to. The second pillar is unpredictable novelty. Right? It's not just safety. And I've talked about this a million times. It's the polarity that's built when you have novelty on one hand and safety on the other. And this is right from the Aron self-expansion model. I mean, we discussed this earlier, right? While you are a safe storm, you must never be a boring storm. Ah, you introduce novelty, not through weird bedroom tricks, you perverts. I mean, sometimes those are fun, but through leadership. Come on now. And if we're doing the weird stuff in the bedroom, make sure that you have her complete and total trust and her total submission to these things, right? You don't want to do anything that she doesn't want. You want something that she wants, and she's going to want it, baby. She's going to want it if she feels safe and excited. So what does this even mean, right? Well, look, okay. You take her to a new part of the city, right? Take her to a new part of the city. Do something different. Challenge her intellectually, right? You keep your own hobbies. You keep your own mission. Guys, this creates that mystery, right? That mystery that psychologist Esther Perel always is talking about on her show, right? It's essential that you have mystery for any kind of eroticism to happen. You have to be the man that she knows she can trust, but never quite fully predict, right? So again, you're introducing new, unpredictable, just a tiny little bit of chaos into her life, but she feels safe. So that chaos feels exciting now. And the final pillar, it is unshakable presence. This is the hardest one to sort of get down, boys. When you are with her, you have to be with her. We are always distracted. Put the phone in the other room, right? Look at her like you're trying to read the fine print on her soul, right? Not your Apple device. Guys, studies on sexual mindfulness show that presence increases the intensity of the physical sensation by nearly 40%. Guys, do you know what that means? That means when you're in the moment, she is feeling hotter and that orgasm is stronger for you and for her. You guys are enjoying it more because she feels it and she is fully surrendered to you. You are fully surrendering and leading her, both in the bedroom and outside. That's what an ethically masculine man does. It's not about control. It's not about the dread game. It's about being there for her, being safe, showing a little bit of chaos, a little bit of excitement, right? Guys, 40%, 40% increase in the physical sensation. I mean, when you combine these three things, so not just two of them, not just do the last one, we're talking about all three. When you combine all three, you aren't just dating anymore. You are creating a vacuum that her imminent femininity, it has to fill because the brain doesn't like a vacuum. She will surrender to your frame because it is the most rewarding place on earth for her to be. Now, let's talk about what happens when the plan hits the fan, right? Because we all know this stuff happens, right? Let's be honest. Life doesn't care about your Pinterest board. It doesn't care how long you took to put this date together, right? Look, guys. The restaurant loses your reservation. The Uber gets stuck in 40-minute standstills, right? Or she comes home and she has a brutal day at work, right? Or she comes home with the emotional bandwidth of a burnout light bulb, right? I mean, what are you going to do then? What are you going to do when the going gets tough? What are you going to do when life throws its little monkey wrench into your situation and into your grand master plan, right? What is the red pill going to tell you? What are the red pill dorks going to say about this? Right? What are the nice guys going to do? Because they both fall into the same trap, right? The nice guy and the red pill douche. They fall into something called the frame fracture. The alpha LARPer, right? He gets angry at the waiter because his ego is tied to the prestige of the table. The nice guy starts over apologizing like he just accidentally ran over her cat. Both of these reactions scream, I am a little turd. And they also scream one other thing to her nervous system. I can't handle the storm. I'm a little boy. She needs a man who understands women. Hopefully she's eminently feminine enough to know it. Guys, when you lose your control, you trigger emotional contagion. Research by Elaine Hatfield at the University of Hawaii shows that humans subconsciously mimic the emotions of the most dominant or stable person in the room. If you're radiating frustration like insecurity or just plain insecurity, she will catch it like a virus. But if you implement the emergency pivot, you utilize co-regulation, baby. So what do? You stay grounded, right? You literally pull her nervous system out of the fight or flight and back into the rest and receptivity. Now, how do you do that? What do you actually do? What are the actual scripts to calm everything back down to show that even though these plans went to crap, you're still there and you can still have a great time together, right? So here are going to be 3 Plan B emergency scripts, right? To maintain the EM frame, baby. Now, script number 1, we'll call this the logistics fail, right? What you're going to do is something I like to call the captain pivot. If the restaurant is a bust, don't pout. Don't pout like a little child. Don't throw a tantrum. It's a hair, my guy. Take it out. Listen, pouting is for toddlers. Pouting is for toddlers. And guys who post Sigma memes, right? Look, we don't want these dudes. Instead, you look her in the eye. You give her a smirk. You know the one, right? And you say something like, the universe clearly realized this place wasn't good enough for you and me tonight, baby. New plan. We're grabbing the best takeout in the city. We're heading home, and I'm going to give you my undivided attention without the waiter hovering all over us, baby. Trust me, it's an upgrade. Beautiful, baby. You aren't settling anymore. You're leading the adventure. Be a leader, not a pansy. Script number 2, the stress shift, right? I'm going to call this one the anchor pivot. Yeah, the anchor pivot. Look, if she's overwhelmed, she comes home, she's, all snapping at you, right? The red pill advice is to check her, right? You check that shit, right? It's to withdraw your attention. Ooh, that's idiocy. That is complete moronic BS loser material. You don't want dudes who've never had sex in their lives telling you what to do, guys. And that's exactly what those red pill dorks are. Guys who have never had a woman. The EM man knows she is just hitting the sexual brake because her cortisol level is through the roof. You understand the neuroscience of her very being. So what do? You pivot by becoming the anchor again. Hey, stop for a second. You're carrying the weight of the world around you right now. That's not your job for the next few hours, baby. Just sit down. Let me handle the noise, right? Just breathe with me. You've just transitioned from annoying date to sanctuary, and she will love you for it, and she will never forget it. They always remember how you make them feel, guys. Make them feel safe and good, excited, not terrified, not controlled. Now, script 3 is about the energy crash, right? What do? I'm going to call this one the intimacy pivot. If she's too tired for the main event, if you're done with the date and you get home and she's too tired, right? Or she's got a headache, you don't act like a rejected teenager, even if you know it's bullshit. The best way to ensure she never feels desire for you again is to act like a dork. Pivot to the emotional intimacy. Say, I don't need a performance tonight, baby. I just want your presence. Let's just hold each other, right? No pressure, no expectations. Paradoxically, by removing the pressure, you often find that the brake releases and her imminent femininity decides to make an appearance after all. Yeah, you say no, she says yes. Not always, right? Maybe she's really just exhausted. It doesn't really matter what her reason is. If she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it, period. It doesn't mean she won't want it, and that's why you show safety. That's why you show emotional regulation, because you've just proved your value to her, right? You're not all about her appearance. You care about her, not just what she can do for you. Guys, this is the ultimate panty dropper move. Being the man who is secure in his own masculinity, that a change in plans does not shake your foundation at all. You are the safe storm, remember? You don't care which way the wind blows. You freaking own the weather, my guys. You own it. Act like it. Here's the truth. Valentine's Day isn't just a test of your wallet. It is a test of your presence. For the love of God, stop listening to the dorks who tell you to be a robot, and stop being the guy who thinks that a box of chocolate is a substitute for emotional leadership. It ain't. Guys, use the Oxytocin Anchor tonight. Start building the EM intimacy architecture tomorrow. And if things go wrong, you pivot like a king, an EM king. You don't act like a toddler, boys. If you want the deep dive manuals on how to master the safe storm and trigger imminent femininity every single day, you got to go over to plantthespark.com, boys. I'm telling you right now, there is free stuff over there. There is pay stuff over there. Either way, you're getting the deep information. So grab that ethical masculinity manual, boys. It's on sale right now. Stop being a spectator in your own relationship. I'm Mike. This is Plant the Spark. Go lead. Go lead. And happy Valentine's Day, you filthy animals.